years. It's on its way to President Trump's desk for signature. How does it affect your life?
Welcome back to the Opportunity Zone, guys. I got Mr. Lavin in studio and office.
And Mr. Nate, both in the same place at the same time.
We've been on the road. We've been looking at a lot of properties and out there managing what we have. So we've been apart a lot. But this week's show is stacked. So first and foremost, Chris, you mentioned this earlier, but largest housing legislation in recent history, probably 50 plus years, on the desk of President Trump right now. Okay, we're going to cover that. We're also going to go through what came out of the Apartmentalize conference, some big AI moves or non-moves.
I'm sorry, there's so many childish jokes just came to my head. Apartmentalize. Keep going.
That's the name of the conference.
I know.
There is the largest Toyota plant ever in America, in the world. Literally, we're going to talk about its expansion and what it means for multifamily.
And we're going to talk about how we were blessed around that.
And we'll talk about how we're blessed on that. Okay. We've also got another big New York group moving deep into student housing. We're going to talk about why.
I'm going to refrain from comment for the time being because my blood pressure needs help.
So all of that and more on today's Opportunity Zone show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll first start quick proverb, and then Chris will give the blessing, and then we'll jump into this. So we're going to use the one that my boys are doing right now at home. And it's Proverbs 11:6. And it basically says this. I'm going to put it in 5-year-old terms because that's how Johnny remembers it. If you do good in life, then your goodness, your godliness will save you. And if you do bad in life, then you will be crushed by the weight of your sin. So that's the proverb of the day.
Amen. Heavenly Father, please allow us to align our wills with yours. Please come into this conversation today. Bless Nate and I with the words that we need to give to people so that they can have the freedom that Nate and I enjoy. Please bless everything that we do so that the wisdom is transferred, the people hear what they need to hear, and they can go out and live a financially free life. I ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right, first up, Chris, we have the Senate and the House both finally agreeing on this. I know this is legislation you and I have reported on for a while, but they just passed it. We've got, This is the largest housing bill that we've seen in probably 50 plus years. What are your thoughts?
Listen, this is, I've been saying this for a long time and I feel like a broken record, but this is our crazy president, right? Yeah, and I said it, people crazy, because he's crazy, but crazy like a fox. This is his way of helping alleviate some of the pressure on the housing situation in this country. So what they've done is said that as a corporation or a hedge fund or whatever, you can't own more than 150 single-family residences because there are hedge funds out there that own thousands. What does that mean, and why would you do that? There's an exception to that rule. And that rule is if you build to rent. So it's forcing these people that want to own all these single family residences to build more homes. Guess what we need in this country? More homes. It's so crazy like a fox. Sometimes I question what the heck this guy is doing, and then the answer presents itself. So yeah, I'm for this. I have no problem with it. As a matter of fact, we may get involved in that, different little tiny scale, but as little as we'd like to get involved in development. But I think for the charitable reasons that we're doing it, I think it's the right thing to do. I think we'll be blessed in that. I think when we do the right thing, God blesses us by blessing that right thing.
Yeah. Yep. And so they did cut the biggest contention point the last 3 months. They build to rent. Build to rent's not on the block anymore. Now you can build to rent until you're blue in the face.
Yeah. Or red in the face.
Or red in the face. Yes.
Let's stay away from that blue, my friend.
All right. Next up, we had the Apartmentalize apartment conference just go down in the last week. And at it, they had a huge discussion point around AI.
Can you give a little background on that before you move on? Why this is a big deal because of that lawsuit?
Yeah. So what Chris and I talked about this 3 weeks ago. Yeah. There was AI being adopted really fast. Yeah. And unfortunately, there was a situation where a tenant or a prospective tenant applied for a unit at the same time as another prospective tenant. And one of the two was handicapped.
Yep.
And he asked a question to the AI
About
chatbot.
accommodations. Yep.
Yeah, hey, can I, how are you guys going to accommodate me so I can get in? Is there access? And the AI chatbot didn't know the answer. So it said, hey, we'll have a team member get back to you on Monday.
Yeah.
Well, over the weekend, it got rented, gonzo.
Yep.
And so that tenant sued and basically said, hey, look, you didn't treat me fairly. It wasn't the same equal treatment. And consequently, AI ended up getting that owner operator into a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of adoption of AI that's like that. I'm sure there's similar cases that we'll see in court in the near future.
Yeah. So what this conference came up with is a list of guidelines. Guidelines not even the right word. A list of best uses. Best uses is probably the best way to do it. Of when to use AI and not get yourself in trouble. And some of the things are writing letters to tenants, and I don't know about anybody else, but if I'm PO'd about something and I'm drafting an email, I always run it to ChatGPT or whatever. I'm using Gemini. We use Gemini pretty heavily around here, and even occasionally Grok. I didn't say that out loud. But yeah, so difficult discussions. It's a way for you to put your thoughts into an email or a letter and allow the AI to look at it from a different perspective and perhaps soften the delivery of that message and become less controversial. Or sometimes, I say things with my heart and my experiences and my perspective on things, never meaning any ill by it. But sometimes AI will point out how that could be perceived by somebody receiving it as not as I intended it, and definitely helps. And those are great uses of AI. But you'll notice that all of those uses are heavy human involvement. So I guess AI is, we're not at the time of the Terminator yet, and AI is still dependent upon the human being to be truly useful in this world. So there you are.
Yeah. We have not debuted our AI tool
Dude,
yet.
Oh, we haven't. We should. This should have been a great time to debut our AI tool. This would have been really a great time.
But it's coming soon, guys. It's a tool that's helping people.
Talk about saving time and a perfect use for AI.
Yeah, this is only internal. It's internally available right now. A lot of our students are test driving this right now, but it helps people analyze multifamily properties. Does all the all the heavy lifting, the dirty work, all that kind of stuff, finding out if the market is the right one, if the property is the right one, crime stats, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be in the AI field pretty quick here, but this is meant to be a tool to help people get into deals the right way.
Yeah. And, it sets up what are those things called? And the bowling alley, the bumpers?
Yeah. Next up, we have some data coming out from Yardi. Yardi is the largest property management provider in the space, largest or second largest. And they're saying that rents are up 0.2%.
So those of you paying attention, that's 2.5% a year. And I got really excited about this at first. Then I started seeing that some of the gateway locations, they're actually pulling back in rents. I'm good with this, right? So this tells me that if you're buying smart, buying in the right locations, you're still getting, you're getting definite growth in the markets, and you get appreciation on your properties. It just happened. Natural appreciation at 2.5% is a good thing because you're getting to drive up the NOI. Remember, just because you're driving up your rents doesn't mean you're driving up your expenses. So that twofolds your NOI for every dollar. It's almost like $2 in your NOI because you're not increasing your expenses, other than things like management fees. Management fees are the other things that are really affected.
Chris, what do you say to the skeptic that says, well, 0.2%, that's too, like we used to see 6-7% per year. What, this 2% is nothing.
Really? That's nothing. That's nothing. So if you've got $100 million property and you're driving it up 2.5% a year, by my math, that's $2.5 million a year. And that's the market we like to be in. It is significant, trust me, because you hold a property for 5 years. If you only get 2.5% a year over and over again, you have to do the math, and it's a little complicated. It's not quite 12.5% as you would look at it. It's more like 15% increase. So over the course of 5 years, you take the $100 million property and make it $115 million plus the cash flow you get along the way. It's an impact. It really is an impact.
Cool. Chris, next up, we have something going down in Kentucky with Toyota.
Yes.
They have officially become the largest Toyota manufacturing facility in the world, not just the United States, but in the world. They're expanding their Georgetown, Kentucky campus again.
Yes.
They're building out the RAV4,
Yep.
amongst other vehicles that they pump out of this facility. What does all this mean, and what does it mean for multifamily owners?
Okay, so I'm going to be a little selfish and self-centered for a minute and make it about us. So I believe God blesses the people that do the right thing and work for him all the time. That's what and I know you, try to do on a regular basis. We always seek God's will for our lives. We acquired a property in Georgetown, Kentucky, some years back, and we did it with a partner that didn't quite live or look at life the same way that we do. And we've since parted ways and bought him out of that property. And Georgetown, Kentucky, on any not rat-infested property in the area, is generally at 98% occupancy before this happened, right? So now we have more jobs, means more people are going to come into the area, more people need to rent, at least for the first year they're there, right? This is going to drive the rents up significantly more. I was talking to Nate before. I'm actually considering exiting out of this property early. That would be really early exit, right? For 3 years. Because I think, based on what's going on here, we can really get a sweet, sweet profit for our investors. And this is a beautiful property. It's one of our easiest properties to manage even. It's crazy because there's no I mean, there's always a waiting list there too. It's crazy. So I'm very happy, very excited about this property. God has blessed us for real with this property, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
I'm excited about Georgetown. God, I love it. And the other cool thing is all these jobs are coming in. There's no place to build any more property, like apartment complexes. It's capped.
Yeah, in Georgetown, they love their horse country.
Yes, sir.
If you leave our property, you drive out, you're going through rolling hills, white picket fences, or not picket, but white horse fences. Yeah. And you got horses everywhere, and they do not want that disturbed.
Nope.
So it's very hard to get approvals for anything where you're going up.
Yep.
So we got a
we got a
treasure
gem
right
there.
here.
We got a gem. I'm so excited about that.
Next up, Chris, we've got a big New York firm that they are moving heavy into student housing. They've been at it for 5 years in the student side, and they're basically doubling down now. What on earth are they seeing? Well, other people are getting scared about AI taking over and putting student housing, kind of in the gutter.
Well,
what do you think they're seeing?
I don't know. They're from New York, so I don't know, right?
Did you spend some time in New York?
Yeah, I did some time in New York. Behind a dumpster, unfortunately. But listen, I don't know if it's fair to say that everybody is scared, because I mean, our property manager, Asset Living, they're big into the market. They're doubling down. But I'm seeing some prudent, some wise people who are very good with money. I don't know how to describe them other than that, the billionaire status, exiting the student market, student housing market. So that's a little clue in my head. And I just got this notion, and again, this is me, that AI is going to change learning as well as the job market. So I'm a little concerned of what that looks like 5 years from now. I think you're okay for the next 3 years, but I think 5 years from now it's going to be different, right? There's going to be more distance learning. There's going to be more at-home learning. And I think that student housing is going to take a dip. This is my opinion. Most of it is based on prayer, and most of it is based on my gut. So we're pulling out or avoiding the student multi-housing market right now. I could be wrong. For some of the people that are involved in the market, I hope not, because there's some good people there. But I don't think it's for me right now. I'm not willing to take a risk with my investors' money. If it was my own money, I might be a little bit more risk tolerant. But with my investors' money, if something's telling me it might not be the right deal, then I'm not getting in.
Yeah, unless it's a smoking killer deal
that we could flip and convert. Like if we can get out of the because it takes 2 to 3 years to convert a unit from standard multifamily to student housing, and so I'm going to assume it's going to take almost that to get back. Or maybe not, because the lease cycles of student housing is very, they all end at the same time of the year. But could you imagine ending the student housing, deciding not doing it anymore, and then you've got to lease up a whole property? That's a huge
9
carry,
months.
dude. Yeah, that's a huge carry. I don't know if I want to do that. Anyway, so for those reasons, I'm negative, and I've been wrong before.
Yeah. Yeah, this group, they've been riding the rent bumps that they're getting off of student housing,
Yeah.
whereas they feel like the rest of the market's been flat. But we just saw 0.2%, which is 2.5% per year,
Yeah.
according to Yardi. Oh, cool. Well, Chris, I'm gonna pivot a little bit here, and I'm gonna get into a deal that you do feel good about.
Yes.
And this one, we have one chunk that opened. We had an investor that had a life change, and so his $3+ million allotment can't go
Unable
in.
to. He needs to stay cash positive for reasons that I'm not going to get into, because it's not for public consumption. But as a result, it's opened up another little chunk. But we've had people waiting, so we have somebody going to look at the property when Nate gets there next week, right?
Yeah, Wednesday next week. I'm
So
walking it.
he may very well jump in there and take all of it, because he's in that position. He's in the middle of a 1031 exchange. By the way, this is a 1031 friendly property. So if you need to do a 1031 exchange, this is the deal for you. Remember that on this property, we're buying it so well. We're buying it at $73 million, and just a couple of years ago, it was appraised at $122 million. So we've got $50 million in built-in equity once we restore the property to the place it needs to be. And the cost segregation on this is so amazing that we will be able to give up to 100% of your basis. So if you come in for $1 million, we'll be able to give you up to your basis in bonus and accelerated depreciation. So you get that negative or that depreciation on your K1 as a loss to take against your current taxes, if you've got your tax structure set up correctly. So not only this deal is this deal situated to make an incredible amount of profit, the amount of tax saving, which is really half of the equation when it comes to setting up generational wealth, not how much you make, but how much you keep. The tax savings or the tax implications of this property are absolutely through the roof.
Yeah. So as Chris said, we're buying this one for $73 million. It appraised for $122 million. So you can see the $50+ million in equity that we pick up day number one walking into it. And you might say, well, why? Why would the sellers walk away from that?
Yeah, broke.
Yeah.
Poor management. They made some bad financial decisions.
They got caught up during COVID when they couldn't collect rents, and it snowballed out of control.
Yep.
And unfortunately, they just didn't have the same financial wherewithal to survive that COVID period, and it caught them off guard, and it stumbled out of control. But the property itself, it's gorgeous. Literally, I've been up there for like the last, 8 or 9 weeks, just about every single week. And we're watching it transform even before closing, because Chris and I got involved and started picking it up and hiring people and putting it back in the direction for the right path. And now we're well on our way. So if you're interested in looking at a multifamily investment, I would definitely look at this one. As Chris said, we have just a little bit of room left. And by next week on Wednesday, when I go up there, I'm meeting a pretty significant investor, and he might end up taking all of it for all I know. So if you're interested, go to homeinvest.com/book, or write in the comments right now, call, CALL, and our team will reach out to you. We'll get you set up with a phone call with one of our team members. And the big part, you mentioned this, Chris, but I want to double down. The tax benefits are insane.
Yep.
This presidential administration, they passed something called the One Big Beautiful Bill. And inside of it, what it says is that you can get big tax benefits when you invest in real estate. So literally, this one's like dollar for dollar, or up to dollar for dollar. So you put in $100,000, you put in $1 million, whatever dollar amount it is. At the end of the year, you get a tax form. It's called a K1 that you can take to your CPA with nearly an equivalent amount of loss on your taxes. It's a paper only loss, but it lets you offset what you would normally pay in taxes. It could significantly reduce the amount that you have to write a check for.
I got to say this. We are not tax consultants. We do not give tax or legal advice. We ask you to go to your CPA with this, but we do it time and time again. We can only share our experience. But this is how I got a $58,000 refund last year, and I made more money last year than I had in the previous 10. So we use multifamily real estate. It's the way to do it.
Beautiful. Chris, anything you want to say to wrap up today?
No, I say no, and then I talk. Yes, I would love to say one more thing. Listen, I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up for these shows because it allows Nate and I to share our experience and our wisdom and the talents that God has blessed us with so that we're not the evil servant just burying them in the ground. We're actually sharing them so that we have a ripple effect in the world. And that's really what we're all about. And as a fact, as a result of Nate and I pursuing God's will for us in our lives today, he has blessed us over and over and over again. And I know one thing for a fact: God doesn't love me any more than he loves you, and he doesn't love you any more than he loves me. If you seek God's will for your life, I guarantee you will find fulfillment and the blessings that God promises. God bless you all, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.